Welcome. My name is Colleen and I'm the sewing specialist for Fons Porter. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make the one block that makes up the quilt string of pearls. For the pattern for this project, visit our website. To begin this project, we're going to be working with a set of 10-inch squares. And you can see they're all a tone-on-tone pearlized fabric, therefore the string of pearls name came about. A lot of people look at this and go, I love this quilt, but it's got a curved piece in it. Well, let's take away the fear of curved piecing. This is a big, wide open curved piece, and it's easiest to start with. So it's a good project to start your curved piecing endeavors. This is the block that we're going to be creating. You can see, nice long open curve. Each of the blocks has one of the colors in the center, and then we have the white surround on it. Now we have a great set of templates that we're going to be using to cut the pieces. And so we're going to begin with one of the purple fabrics, and we're going to use the fill-in template. And you'll see that each one of them is marked so you can remember which is which. The fill-in template fills in the block. So we can just, these are made to go on a 10-inch square, so we can position it out here along these two edges. And we'll pull in our glove for safety. I've placed this on a rotating mat so that I can easily access the curve and make sure that my cutting is always in a safe direction. Now double checking to make sure my template hasn't moved. I'm using a smaller blade. You could use a standard blade, but if you really get into curve piecing and want to do smaller blocks, the smaller blade will fit up next to the template much easier and much more accurately. Okay, so we have the first cut made. So we're going to take away we're going to take this template, lay it to the side. You'll notice that now that this is the center of our block, and this will be discard. Now we have the second piece of our set. So we have the background white fabric. Again, we're going to place it on our square, and this one is labeled the takeaway template. Takeaway means that we're going to be taking this section away to reveal this. We need them to fit together properly to end up with the right size block when we finish. So again, making sure that we align the right angle edge here and here. We're going to come in, make a nice smooth. See, sometimes this happens. It went off of the template. So we're going to bring in another one. That's why we always build a little buffer into our patterns to give you enough fabric to make that oopsie block. Okay. Now, concentrate well. Hold the blade along the template all the way through the curve. Perfect. So this time we have the outside edge of the block. Now we have our ingredients to make our curved piece block. But everybody looks at that and says, how do I get these two pieces to match up? Because look at this outside edge. They don't look right yet. So what we do is we need to find centers. We're going to fold our block, our fill-in piece, find the center, and then we're going to do the same thing with the outer edge and find the center. And I just made a little pinch crease on each piece. So when we open them up, we know that this is the center and they need to be aligned. So right sides together, I'll lay this one on top, and we're going to place a small pin, and we're just going to take a tiny bite into the seam allowance here, and not a large one, because we want that kind of to be a pivot point at this stage in the game. Now, if I flip these up, you'll see this is kind of the smile piece. Always put the smile on top, because as you finish your block, we're hoping that you have a smile on your face when you complete it. So we're going to take two more pins. We're going to go to the ends of each, and we're going to square this up, because we want those to be aligned when we're finished. If you'll notice, see how those align nicely? That's our goal. Just have to get there. We're going to bring this one out, same thing. We can take a little bit bigger bite into the fabric here You see, I didn't take it right into the seam allowance. It's a little bit wider bite to hold those so they don't shift. Now we're going to take it to the sewing machine. Everybody says, how do you get all this fullness? The nice part is, because I said, remember, wide open curve, the fabric will just position itself as we sew with a little cajoling from us. So we put the presser foot down, take just a couple little steps into the fabric like this, and then you can remove the pin. It's more for helping you get, because you can't get under the presser foot with your fingers, to hold everything in place. And then we're going to run a 1/4 inch seam very carefully along the cut edge, and you'll notice I'm going to pull back just gently. I'm not going to stretch, but there's a little fullness along here. Just going to mate the cut edges of the fabric all the way along. And it does take a little while to get these together. As you get better at them, you'll go faster. But you'll see the fullness on the side of the presser foot here as it pulls back. Just continue in that manner, and as you get more confident, probably the second half of the curve, you're going to be like, okay, I can do this. So then we can pick up our speed a little bit more. And just patience, remember to breathe. Sometimes as quilters, when we get nervous, we kind of hold our breath and we don't realize that our brain needs a little oxygen. So take a deep breath, relax. Gently get through the end of the curve. And that pin at the end holds them nice together so we can finish it off. Now the time to reveal. Okay, we've got our 1/4 inch seam all the way along. If this is roughly, you've done it correctly. What we're going to do now is I want to talk about the direction the seam allowance should go. If you were to curl it back, it's going to try to go into a smaller space. So if you let it, and you'll see that it wants to flare outward like this, it will lay perfectly. So you can come in with your, I tend to finger press before I even get to the iron because I want to open that all the way up to the seam allowance. So I can reveal a nice gentle curve all the way along. Okay, take it to our ironing board, open out, give it a nice little press, and we've created our curved block. Now you can see in the quilt we've played with all the different colors to make the curved blocks, and this is set in what we would consider a medallion type setting. The center creates this kind of game piece almost in the center and then radiates out throughout the quilt. For more of our video tutorials, visit our website. Thanks for joining me.